This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
I just thought of something.
All right, I'm glad you did.
Now, tell me where this would fall.
Okay.
Over the weekend, taking time out from the tournament,
Yes.
I'd watch the 10 p.m. news.
All righty.
And on Saturday night, I watched the 10 p.m. news on Channel 5.
That's
Five
a good,
Eyewitness
good spot
News.
to watch it.
And it came to the sports, not one college basketball score.
Really?
And then last night, just for the hell of it, I switched over to 11 for sports. Not one college basketball score. Is that because they don't have the games?
Because they're on CBS? I wouldn't think so.
But
Maybe
isn't the tournament newsworthy?
Yes, but they're only giving them 3 minutes, right? And by the time you cover the local teams, how much time's left?
I was just trying to think of how much non-local stuff is even covered in a current sportscast.
I don't know on weekends.
I don't think 11 even had the tournament, the golf tournament.
Do you want me to text
and
Chris
NBC had the golf tournament.
I'll find out.
Yes.
Some unknown one. Taylor or what's his name?
No, I think that was on the Golf Channel. I don't think
it was on NBC.
Was it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, and gave they wouldn't ever give the results of a golf tournament unless it was a major. I wouldn't think. I don't know. I don't. I'm not a loyal.
Well, whatever.
I'm not a loyal watcher of local news. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unless there's weather coming, then you got to watch.
You got to watch for the weather,
coming.
Especially those intense forecasts that we get.
Yes. The weather's coming. So. Did you watch? I didn't know the CP was a loyal bracket.
She'll fill out a bracket.
How's she do?
Well, there's a lot she doesn't understand, but she's probably doing no better and worse than anybody else.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, the 8-year-old picked the upset over Purdue. He said, Dad, I picked, is it FDU? Whatever.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
And I said, you did. So I looked at his bracket, and sure enough, he did.
Why did he do that?
Well, he also picked all of the 16s because he thought the higher number meant the better team.
Well, that was a flaw. But I will say, I have been on the Purdue is not that good bandwagon for weeks.
Yes, you have.
Because their guards are no good.
Right.
I don't. I once, back in the more controversial days, described white point guards as the syphilis of college basketball.
That's a tough way to put it.
Yes, but that was when we were more controversial.
Edgy.
But why do we have the 7'4" guy and have all these white kids from Martinsville who can't play playing with them? Why don't they get themselves a couple of quick brothers from junior college who can go by somebody and be a threat? Their guards were terrible with this guy playing. How sheepish is he going to be when he has to accept the National Player of the Year award at the Final Four? Hey, Mr. Eddie, how'd you like losing to a bunch of midgets from that was the shortest team in the country, Joe.
Fairleigh Dickinson?
By average height. The shortest team
That
in
one
the country.
kid can play, though. That point guard's
What
good.
Minnesota sports figure is a proud graduate of Fairleigh Dickinson?
Boy, oh boy, I would not know. Sports figure.
Drawing a blank. I didn't know they were a school until Saturday.
The Ziggy.
Oh, is that where Ziggy's from?
Yeah, the Zig.
And where are they located?
New Jersey.
I know,
right
but do you know
across the
what town?
Washington Bridge.
Okay, so they're a New York metro area school.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they were the lowest. We got the
Aren't they Division II?
No.
They got the Ken Pomeroy, who does. That's now the mathematics that people follow instead of the old what was our ratings RPI. They were. There's 350 colleges. They were in the 320s. They were the lowest rated team in the entire tournament, and I watched a good share of the second half. They were the better team.
Yes, they were.
It was unbelievable that Purdue could be that rotten.
I thought I read, too, somewhere that the only reason that they got into the tournament was the team that they lost to in their conference championship was ineligible.
Merrimack, for the same reason.
Okay.
For the same reason St. Thomas is. They're moving up.
Oh.
They were moving up from another classification.
What happened to that Fairyland team from last year from New Jersey?
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's?
No, St. Peter's.
St.
Or
Peter's.
St. Peter, you're right. I'm sorry.
They didn't even make the field?
No, I don't. I don't know if they're in the same league. They might
Not
be.
sure.
Fairleigh Dickinson. I don't know. But the Big Ten was started with 8.
Yeah.
Has the same number of teams in the Sweet 16 as the Ivy League, which has Princeton, and we have Michigan State. Now Izzo is a pretty mediocre team by his standard, but
He just does it every
they're
year.
guarding the hell out of everybody.
Did you watch any of Houston Auburn?
Not a lot.
I expected gunplay at any moment.
It was very physical.
Bruce Pearl is crazy.
very
the
gangster-like.
Auburn guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that was one of those games where you didn't know who to root for because it was the honest Bruce Pearl and the honest Calvin Sampson coaching against each other.
Calvin Sampson's violations, though, were much gentler than.
Were they? I thought they were pretty severe.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't buy them like Bruce did. You know, they had Bruce. How Bruce revitalized his career is anybody's guess.
Bruce
They were
Pearl.
described to me as the 2 most unethical, immoral coaches in the tournament.
That's fair.
Calvin,
fair?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. No, I wouldn't say that.
Well,
I
Calipari's
wouldn't
up
say
there,
that.
isn't he?
How about the Alabama guy whose star player provided the murder weapon?
Oh, yeah.
But he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time with a gun.
Did he play in the tournament?
Yes,
He's the
their
best player in the
star.
country.
He's their star.
Mother of God.
You think if he was a Gopher,
Yeah.
you think we'd remember? I was whining about this today. 1981-82. The Gophers have Darryl Mitchell, Trent Tucker, and Mark Hall. Yeah. 3 all-world guards. 3 of the top 8 guards in the country. Mark Hall never was able to walk by a phone. If he saw, if he was walking by the office and the secretary wasn't there, he'd go in and make a call. He just was addicted to the phone.
Like to make a call.
Unfortunately, there were no cell phones back then. So he ran up these cell phone bills, and his academics were a little shaky, but who cares?
Shaky.
Nobody
He's
cares.
the guy who said, when I asked him, what's your major? He's the guy who said electricity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But there would be no chance in hell that he wouldn't play today.
Oh, God.
Under today's standard,
They
no
threw
question.
him off the team. And that team, he was better than the other 2. He was unbelievable.
Really?
And that, as a senior, they threw him off, and they won the Big Ten with Mitchell and Tucker, but they would have had him.
What do you think ever happened to him?
He died young.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Drug overdose.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Did he play in the NBA?
No.
He never did.
I think he played in the CBA and stuff like that, but he was always a troubled youth.
He was troubled.
Okay. Well, look at Clem's scandal. That was peanuts
today.
compared to what's going on now. I mean, North Carolina under Roy admitted that times 20 what Clem got popped for.
Well, they had an organized system for 20 years to guide athletes in all programs.
You remember who lifted the lid on that? Our guy Rashad McCants.
Oh, that's right. Yes, who was he was. You know where he became most famous?
Dating a Kardashian?
He was the chubby one who got in good shape. What was her name? Chloe? Chloe, right?
Yes.
She was a big girl.
Right.
Then
Well,
she
they're all
became a
big
smaller girl.
Yeah.
Well, they got the booty, but Chloe was big and
I didn't know Chloe was a big girl.
well, she got skinny now.
Yeah.
I think, but
We're breaking it down.
But McCants was her first NBA boyfriend, and McCants, she caught him cheating. God, that was a shock. And he had a jeweler come to the front door. This is on one of their episodes. My wife showed it to me with pick out what you want. This was a guy who was making, what, $3 million maybe?
Sure.
$3-4 million. This wasn't a guy making hundreds of millions.
Right.
And he ended up bombing out of the league in about 3-4 years. He was Timberwolves' #1 draft choice. Just a complete moron. And I'm sure he's got $20 now.
Oh, if that, right.
Did she take?
I think she grabbed one of those,
Take
but
a
then
ring?
she dropped him, and she ended up with
Lamar Odom
Lamar Odom, who
had his own set of issues.
Yeah, he had a terrible drug problem. And then Tristan Thompson, too, wasn't she?
Well, those gals get some interesting
Yeah, they do.
boyfriends.
Or was that
don't they?
another?
I think you might be right. Yeah, I think you might be right. I can't keep them
The
straight.
word on our guy Chris Humphries was
Wasn't that all staged?
early in the Kardashians. Supposedly, this is third hand, but so what? They called her agents, or somebody called up the Knicks and said, any of the Knicks want to date Kim? They thought it'd be good for the TV show.
Yeah.
And none of the Knicks went for it. So then they called up the Nets.
Ooh, the option 2.
Yeah, and then it went to the Nets, who were I think they were still in Newark then or wherever. And Chris said, yeah, they lined up. That's how they lined up.
It's almost like
Chris.
it's just lunch.
Yeah. I think they only lasted 11 months from start to
But
finish.
that
so,
marriage was
Chris.
part of the show. It was just
Yeah,
a fake
it was
deal.
basically
Yeah.
a part of a show.
Yeah.
It was
Nice agreement,
good for the ratings.
for
but,
a while, I suppose.
Anyway.
We got off topic. I apologize.
Yeah, Rashad McCants is. That's right. I forgot that he was the guy.
He's the one that he said, well, I never went to class. Like, wait, what?
But Joe,
Yeah.
college basketball.
Here we
Bill
go.
Self.
Yeah.
They got Bill Self. The FBI's got Bill Self's guys, right? Offering money to all these people. The FBI, they got videotapes.
Ray, you know who's looking for you?
Yeah.
The FBI.
The FBI's got videotapes. Last year's national champion, 3-4 years later, last year's national champion coach, Bill Self, Kansas. Now he was sick this year.
He had a heart issue? Is that what the
I
deal
guess
was?
so. He didn't coach any games, but that was a great game. I don't watch a lot of the tournament, but Kansas, Arkansas, what a war.
that was a great game.
What a war. How about Eric taking his shirt off?
Oh, it was
didn't see that.
fantastic.
Yeah, Eric took his shirt off afterwards. And Eric's got an attractive young wife sitting
I'll
there.
say.
The cameramen have decided that she's a very important part of the action.
Well, of course she is.
Yes,
We're going to pander her any damn chance we
so
get.
they're very happy that Arkansas has advanced to the.
Okay, I was asked this, and I knew that you knew the story. So did he want to come here,
No.
and we turned him down? What was the story?
No. Before Patino.
Okay.
Before Patino, he was an assistant at Arizona. He was doing his penance after getting fired at Golden State, right?
Yep.
And he was an assistant in Arizona. And allegedly, Teague lined up an interview with him and was going to go see him in Phoenix, and then they canceled it. And this was in the search process. My guess is the administration told him that he, just because of Bill's
Because of the old man?
20, 30 years earlier.
Huh.
They didn't interview. They could have had him then. Obviously, they were looking for a coach, and they'd be a hell of a lot better off than they were now.
I'll say he can coach.
Oh, plus he can recruit. As I said, name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. Bill was into that way 50 years before everybody else.
Before it was legal.
Name, image, and likeness. How about this? How about this kid from California, though, that the Gophers had? Daniel Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Evans.
Okay. This the tall one?
He commits to us.
Yep.
Right? But he was going to go to another. He decides he wants to transfer. Mm-hmm. Because the Gophers stink, right? He went to the only team in the country that stunk worse than the Gophers in a major conference. Louisville was 4-27. They had the lowest rating in the Kem Palm of any Power 6 conference team ever. But he wants to go to. I just couldn't resist.
Couldn't
Louisville.
resist the tradition.
They gave him like the room. rumors were 250,000 or more in name, image, and likeness. They're just right now. They're just paying you. You know.
Speaking of honesty, how about honest Rick Pitino getting the St. John's job?
Oh, did he take it?
He did, yeah.
Today?
At least I that's what I thought I saw this morning.
Today? Okay, yeah. He supposedly was going to take it, yeah. They're
How did
desperate.
Richard do at New Mexico?
He was at one point 19-3 because they went through they were the last unbeaten team in the country. Most of the non-conference schedules stunk. They ended up 22-12. They went in the tank, and then they got beaten the first round of the NIT by Utah Valley in their own park in their own gym by 15 points. So it was a typical Ricky team. They were better early than they were late. So. But they were hot to trot for him there for a while. They were filling the arena again and everything.
I know you probably didn't see it, but they pulled the Barkley bit, the who he play for bit. They did it with him and Kenny on the college set where they put up a college logo and they say, what school is this? And he got a couple of them, but then he went one. He goes, I got no damn idea what that. It was. He's getting better at college.
Who?
Not much.
Barkley.
Not much.
But
better.
it's still Charles.
They're trying to grade it. They're trying to get it in his head of what he might want to talk about when they come back. He looks
lost a lot
good,
of weight,
though.
didn't he?
He looks good. He looks skinny. I said, Charles looks so healthy, he can't be healthy.
Right.
There's got to be something wrong.
But every time he's on TV, how many more people fall in love
Oh,
with him?
I'd stick around to watch just because I know he's
I
going
want
to
him
be
to
on
run
it.
for president.
He might. Huh?
Well, wasn't there talk of him running for governor of Alabama?
Alabama is a Republican, yeah.
Yep.
But he's gotten a little less. He was never far enough out there to
That's why I want him to run for president.
Yeah, right.
Because he's
But
normal.
He is. But
Although he's got the line that there was the 90s.
He can get over that.
I loved him. I've always loved him. But most I loved him is the guy in Milwaukee. Remember that?
Yeah.
They're going to come up and he's in a Skyway with a female friend.
Charles
Up there,
was.
you're leaving that arena, and I think it was before they built the new one. He was leaving that arena. This guy comes up, he kind of starts giving him crap, drops him right there in the middle of the Skyway, steps over him, and keeps going. And the guy accosted him, so nothing ever came of it. He just boom, down he went.
Done with that.
Anyway, yeah, his insights are, he hates it that he has to be there, though, don't you think?
Probably, but it's got to be part of. Well, he signed
Part
a
of his contract.
massive contract.
Well, he was going to quit.
Right.
He's going to quit.
The
and then they
commercials
bribed
are
him to quit.
fantastic
Yes.
Yeah.
that he's in.
Yes.
Yes. He is.
The one
Everything about him is.
the one with the genie's pretty good.
Yeah.
The one with the genie is.
They said his golf game is getting, his golf swing has
has
gotten a
improved.
little better.
Yeah, he stands up now. He's not all.
Remember
bent
when he
over.
was on that Golf Channel?
Yeah.
What they were trying to teach him?
Yeah.
He had more stops.
Yep.
And he had like 3 different whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep.
It doesn't work. I mean, I tried it. It doesn't work stopping 3 times on the way to hit the ball.
No, that doesn't.
But
work.
he was, who was the guy doing it?
Who's the other guy on there? That's kind of a neat guy. Is it Ken?
Kenny Smith.
Kenny Smith's okay.
Who's he? Where's he? What's
He was
his
a
role?
point guard for the Rockets.
Really good North Carolina player.
He seems
one
like a
time.
fellow human
Yeah,
being.
he
Yeah.
does. And Ernie has been a pretty good. Ernie's had the bad cancer though, I think.
Yeah.
hasn't he? But Ernie, he was a pretty good ringmaster on the NBA show. He's know how to agitate
Well,
him. and
Charles
keep
is
him
still
going.
on the NBA show, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's making a whole.
He just
lot
pays
of money.
attention to college basketball for 3 weekends every year.
Yeah.
Who he play for?
Yeah, well, he comes on, and that guard from,
He did
play for?
He did refer to the one kid that I was referencing. The short one, because he was making threes from all over the
Yeah.
place. Oh no, I'm sorry. He was talking about the Kansas State stud, that point guard, because that kid can play.
yeah.
He said, the short one. He said at one point that was pretty funny.
Yes, I think it's Kansas State and Arkansas. No, Kansas State and
I can't remember, but
they got Arkansas. No, I'm not sure.
all I care is that they
Your
beat
Marquettes
Kentucky yesterday.
Your Marquettes didn't.
I thought they looked
distinguish
discombobulated.
themselves. Michigan State's defense ate them up. They did not. I didn't watch Great Moments.
Don't we have the schedule for next weekend?
Oh
in the
yeah, it's
paper?
down there in the bottom. I think of one of the page. Look at one of the pages. One of the pages there.
I'd like to see who's playing who.
You been watching a lot of the World Baseball Classic?
You don't
no.
like it.
No.
What's wrong with you?
Here's
They
your
got a bunch
hockey.
of nobody pitchers.
Here's
They're
your
playing
hockey.
Cuba yesterday. The guy's the 97th best pitcher in the major league starting for Cuba. I can't stand it.
I thought
Plus, they're playing by the old rules. Everything's slower than hell.
it's
Takes
been
4
entertaining, though,
hours.
you have to admit.
No, I won't admit that.
Really?
I watched a couple innings yesterday, and then I watched some terrible movie and did a couple other things. And I realized at 12:45 in the morning, I didn't know who won the game. I hadn't even looked it up.
Trey Turner hit. That was a bomb. He's a good player.
We don't have next weekend schedule in your paper.
All right, I'll find it for you. How about those new Wild, man? Holy cow! This Johansson has unleashed. Johansson has unleashed.
Why are they scoring more goals without the commie?
I don't know.
They're a scoring machine.
Because Guerin's all new players are in there, down there at the bottom of the page. It's not in real big type, but it's down there.
These are results.
Yes, but under the results is who's playing next week.
Creighton and Prince. Okay, I got you.
How about Creighton? They were supposed to be great, had kind of a mediocre year, but now they're alive.
That was one of the logos that came up.
Oh, yeah,
and
no.
Barkley knew it was
Blue
Creighton, but then they said, okay, what city are they from? He said, oh, they're, it's Midwest, right? They're in the Midwest. But I didn't realize that they were that good. I mean, I knew that they were going to make the tournament, but I didn't think they were Sweet 16
You know
good.
who opened the season for them this year?
St. Thomas?
The Tommies down there and gave them a real good game.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think you said this before, St. Thomas's program, unfortunately, I think is in better shape right now than the Gophers.
Well, they're they don't have to be as good to be competitive.
True.
And, although the Big Ten didn't exactly distinguish itself.
No.
Could St. Thomas make the tournament next year?
Nope, can't 3 more years unless they change the rules.
Yeah.
Why is it that long?
I don't know.
Is it to prevent mischief, or what's the goal?
Not mischief, just okay. Because they don't want this many teams coming in is the problem.
Oh.
So they want to make it more difficult. And they added more. If you're coming from D2, takes 4 years. No team had ever come from D3, so they made it 5. Just
because. Okay.
You know what's ridiculous about it? I've said this before. Their individual athletes can't compete in the postseason anyway. So if you're a track star,
Really?
you can't compete either.
Well, that's just stupid.
Yeah, the individual, I don't know what difference it would possibly make. But
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Princeton surprise you?
yes,
Yeah.
of course. That who'd they beat first round?
They beat
Remind me.
Arizona, didn't they?
Arizona. It would have been so great if it had been Loot to lose this one.
Yeah.
But Arizona is the first, thanks to this one, 2 versus 15. They're the only school ever to lose to an 11, a 12, a 13, a 14, and a 15. Never lost to a 16, but they've had some terrible losses. And I said on Twitter, it would have been so much greater if this had been Loot 20 years ago. And somebody said, Loot wouldn't have lost to them. So then I went and looked up all Loot's terrible losses.
You couldn't let it go.
No. East Tennessee State, when they were rated like 3rd in the country. The next year, they were at one of their best teams ever. Santa Clara was 15-11 and beat them. They were a 1 seed.
That was
versus
always my favorite afternoons, Joe. And you know this, doing radio with this guy as long as you did. It was the year that Duke was playing, was it Lehigh in the afternoon?
Lost to Lehigh.
And I said, Pat, we're on the air. Go Lehigh.
Duke's gone.
Oh, yeah. But it's not as much fun.
No.
I know.
Without Krzyzewski.
Yeah, you got to have Krzyzewski to truly hate him.
You know what I said is, it's kind of feeling funny, so, because I'm not filled with joy today. Because I mean, I'm happy they lost, but it's not like nothing else.
It's not the same zest.
Nothing else in the world matters. Right. I don't have any other issues. Oh, before I forget this, I happened to, when I was clicking channels, I ran across LIV yesterday. Did you ever run across
Then
that?
you've now watched more LIV than I have.
I watched about 8 minutes of LIV.
Mm-hmm.
It is the worst thing ever. First of all, they're trying to get you involved in these team competitions.
Right.
The Horned Frogs now lead the whatevers, and you got players. Dustin Johnson, nobody knows what happened to him. They didn't show one of his shots because he's so far behind. He don't give a damn. Right. They don't give a damn. There's 100 people out there watching him. It's awful. Oh. Charles Howell was going to win his second straight, and then he blew it. But their best player is Mark Leishman.
Yep.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Sergio's playing. He looks like he doesn't give a damn.
What about Koepka?
Yeah, he's not playing. He don't care.
Have you watched this Netflix thing called Full Swing?
Yes, I watched parts of it.
Did you see Koepka's wife?
Yes.
The minute he finishes 15th, she's out the door. That would be my guess.
He just had they were having a baby though, weren't they?
I don't know. The one I saw was.
I always thought was this tremendously confident.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's got demons.
Yep.
Well, he's as far as his game's concerned.
Oh, nothing. Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't know anything about his personal life except she's a bit of a babe. But
she'll be a handful.
Mm-hmm.
No go zone.
Oh, siren sound. I mean, alarm bell should have gone off.
Like somebody's robbing a bank.
Who was the wife that when you get drunk and screaming?
That was Lucas.
Lucas Glover's wife.
Lucas Glover's wife. She hit him, or I think she took him on with a boxing match.
Yeah, I think we put her through a hardcore
maybe
treatment.
She got some treatment.
Because I think they're still together, and he played pretty good.
Yeah.
But she used to come home. And
Miss that putt, huh, Lucas?
Yeah. I mean, she just abused him and tell him what a terrible human being he was. Unbelievable. My wife criticized me, but it isn't vicious.
No.
Your Game of Flaws has limits.
She's not angry.
Right.
She's not angry. She's happy. She's happy to point out my flaws.
It was kind of a tip-off on this Full Swing documentary when they're talking to this woman who I don't think Koepka has yet married her.
Really?
They're living in this beautiful house in Jupiter, Florida, and camera cuts to her, and she said, I've always been a believer in just getting what I want. Okay.
All right. And that's
right
you.
then, I
Red
heard
flag.
sirens and storm warnings.
And after you won 2 straight U.S. Opens, you were my. Now that you're finishing 32nd on LIV, I might not like you as well. Although he's still making but there's no incentive to play them good because they got all their money anyway, right?
Well, that and golf's whole bit is its history.
Yes.
And its legacies. There ain't going to be no legacy with LIV.
No. I don't think they're going to come back next year after watching it, how boring it is.
Now, will the PGA let those guys come crawling back? I would think they would.
Make them serve a year or
maybe,
something.
yeah.
Is it almost a suspension? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I don't think they can let them come right back. But
well, I think there's some wounds that have been established, verbal wounding, and
well, Rory might punch somebody.
Yeah,
Rory's been the most outspoken, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He is. But
so is Will Zalatoris.
Okay.
Now he ain't beating up Brooks Koepka.
No.
Brooks got him by about 120 pounds, so maybe not.
Well, Will goes around saying things like, I ain't no Cam Smith,
in other words,
who went to the Australian and won the Open.
Reason. For no reason. I think they all felt that, we'll take all the money and come back in 2 years. So we'll find it. But I don't think they had any idea how terrible it would be. I watched it. I'm present.
What channel did you find it on?
The Country
CW?
West CW.
CW.
I just ran across it because it said Tucson golf. Mm-hmm. So I just looked to see what it was, and it was LIV. But they're in Tucson, which doesn't have an event anymore. So Tucson took these clowns. But on Super Bowl weekend, there's a tournament, a PGA tournament in Phoenix that they got 100,000 people on a golf course. They had 3,000 on this golf course in Tucson. They just look foolish. And
how did they get away with having an event on Super Bowl weekend in town? Doesn't the NFL normally take over?
They've done it for years.
They have
done it for years.
Tournament's over by the time of kickoff.
That's what they try to end up by the time.
But don't you remember when it was here? Basically, the Timberwolves couldn't even have a home game.
Yeah, but I got news for you. When it was here, you weren't going to play golf here.
I'm aware.
It was winter.
I just mean the NFL.
You were going to ride a zip line across a frozen river and hope you didn't fall in and drown.
The guy that flipped the snowmobile.
Yeah.
Levi,
Yeah. It was...
No, I haven't paid a bit of attention to LIV. I don't care who wins.
I just happened to watch it, and I saw Charles Howell was leading again. Really nice guy. I met him once because he was big in... Jane McKenzie was big in... What's one of those golf youth programs? I can't remember. And Charles Howell was providing a lot of time there, and he was a really nice guy. But
Matthew Wolf went to LIV.
Yeah. I asked Hollis about that because he won Hollis's first tournament. You know, Hollis had Morikawa, Hovland, and Matthew Wolf, the three young hotshots who were just getting started.
And Wolf won the first time.
And Wolf won it. But Hollis, I said, what's the deal? He said, he doesn't have the same I'm great personality as the other two guys. Hovland and Morikawa both have firm belief in themselves, and Wolf maybe was a little insecure. And
he's even taken time off to have the thinking time off.
That's true. So let's see. How about? We didn't get to this. He didn't get to see the tweet from Karl Anthony Towns, did he?
Oh, my God.
No, I didn't. I see he was on the bench last night or whatever. He wears a leather jacket.
He had a tweet the other day, a couple of days ago, that he's like a caged lion.
Really?
Did we not have a lion in the...
Yep.
He had
the little, like at the zoo, a cartoon. Yeah. It was a cartoonish
He's
image.
like a caged lion getting ready to be back in there.
I bet he is.
I think he's out today against the Knicks, my Knicks. And
I'm trying to find it.
I think he's still out. But they only have 10 games left.
Right.
I don't know what we're waiting for. If he can practice, why can't he play?
I wash my hands of that.
Yes.
I don't pay any attention.
But he's a caged lion. He is.
Me waiting to get cleared to play. Let the kid do what he loves. Well, Karl, we're ready.
Yeah. Who's not clearing him to play? Do they not want him to play?
Well, he's making that seem as though the Timberwolves are the one holding him back. But I remember hearing who's the new boss? The new boss from Conley saying, "Yeah, we're just kind of we're trying to be." Someone's lying.
Last week they said Karl will be ready. Karl's will be ready in a few weeks. Well, guess what? There's 2 weeks. There's 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks left.
That coach doesn't seem assertive either. He's
kind of, his hands are tied. But I don't think he's a problem.
No.
He's just,
Losing Anthony Edwards is a problem.
Edwards, that thing looked vicious.
Yes,
and
it did.
Then they said it wasn't as bad as they thought it was. But
maybe he'll be back before Cat.
He might.
Oh, that would be great.
Well, he's very much against load management. He said that at the All-Star game. That made me an instant fan of him.
Everybody.
What's load management?
Well, he can't play today, so we can be ready
Curry
tomorrow.
Plays 2 straight road games. He doesn't play the third one and stuff like that.
That's kind of the way Rocco does it. Yeah.
I'm a little worried about the boys.
Has Byron played in a game yet?
No, but Jorge has not.
Buxton
Polanco.
has.
I thought Buxton did.
Not in a game. He was at the backfield.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I'm a little worried about the attack. The hitting. I don't.
You don't think they'll be okay?
I don't think they're hitting.
Well, you're just mad that they traded a Rise. That's why you're mad.
Well, I saw him. I heard him. I saw him hit. I saw him hit one of his 2 home runs the other day in Miami. Oh God, I hope he has a monster year.
And you know what? Isn't he the kind of guy? Just everything about him. He's going to be beloved in that town.
Here's another thing. Okay, he doesn't really have a position because his best position is second base. And you're the Twins ass kissers are kind of suggesting they were worried about his his body breaking down, and he was a little bit hurt at the end of the year. So meanwhile, they weren't concerned about the guy who was hurt at the end of the year, Polanco. Who's now still hurt with a bad knee, and they triple talked their way around the other day saying, oh, everything's looking good with Jorge, but he might have to be down here a couple extra weeks when the season starts. So,
Or could this be Jorge looking at the fact that there's still 6 feet of snow outside saying,
No,
I might hang out here for a little bit.
Are we opening any day now? Isn't it
It's a week from Thursday.
Yeah, but we open here April 6th, though. They're on the road to Kansas City, and then they go back to Miami, where Louis Reusse will get 8 hits in 3 games, and then they're.
I would agree with you if they hadn't brought back Correa. Then they would be in real trouble from a lineup. But come on, you got Gallows hitting. He's not striking out.
What about the Kraut? What about the German?
He's
Kepler?
played okay.
He got hurt. He's
Did he?
He yesterday. He's something.
Okay.
Now it's kind of a sore hip or something.
How come the game wasn't on the radio?
I don't know.
They're hardly on TV.
Is it a road game?
Oh, it must have been.
Where was it?
I don't know. Because I thought I saw in the paper 1 o'clock. Let's go here.
Glad he doesn't like road trips.
That 1 hour ride up to Dunedin.
Where were they?
I don't know. I saw
Must
1
have
o'clock.
been a road game.
I just wanted
Or
to
were
listen.
they? Timberwolves didn't have an afternoon game, did they? No.
No, you're not going to make an appearance at spring training this year.
Nope. Second in a row after being at 45.
Right.
I was at 45 times.
I'll be there a week, or I'll be there.
He's going to represent.
I'll represent Monday Night Sports Talk.
All right. So we'll get a call in.
I could. I'll be at the Tuesday game.
Luckily, you got a Cracker Jack producer to fill in for him, right?
I think so.
Well, she wants to make the drive up to Sarasota on Sunday.
Is there
That's
a game?
not that far.
No, that I was all for it because
best town in Florida, seriously.
and she loves that town because she wants to go to the beach, and the O's are playing the Phillies at 1 o'clock, so we'll go to that game.
I know that beach on Siesta Key is
Oh.
great. That's where Bernsey said, "Hey, Big Nuts."
Oh, that's right.
When I was 50 yards away, he recognized that frame walking across the beach. Hey, Big Nuts. Yes, it was great.
Two straight no spring trainings for you.
You know what? The writing part of it, I don't miss at all because it's all crap.
The 80-degree temperature
You
you
missed the
missed.
temperatures.
Yeah, but it's all crap now. He talks for 10 minutes about Polanco and they lie to you. They're all lying now. Bring back Billy Gardner, damn it. Billy Gardner.
Or Tom Kelly saying, well, he can't play.
Yeah, Billy Gardner would have told you the truth. You know Billy Gardner's still alive? He's the oldest living twin. He's a year older than Al Worthington.
Well, how old is he?
93, I think.
Really?
He's preserved, man.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about his condition or anything about like if he's.
How did you know that he was still alive? Did you do something that involved him recently?
Somebody's just
Well, you'd hear if he
was
died.
the oldest living twin.
I suppose, yeah.
And of course we'd hear.
Who was the first
if
manager?
you can't get a column out of Billy kicking it off, you're not.
Who was the first manager at Fort Myers when they moved to Fort Myers? Who
Would
was
have
the
been
manager?
TK.
TK, yeah.
TK.
90. Yeah. 91. 91.
So
was
Billy
the
was
first year.
still stuck over in Orlando.
Oh
with
yeah,
the dump.
Billy was
Tinkerfield?
Billy was in Orlando. But whatever, he was probably at the Court Plaza there or whatever it was after they left Kaler.
Yeah.
But up here, of course, they stayed in a luxurious Super 8 out or after the truck
Billy was
wiped out
probably
the
making
room.
about $40,000 a year.
Huh?
He's probably making about $40,000
No, but
a
he
year.
probably wasn't making much over 200.
No.
I remember sitting there, Bob Nightingale, after he went and managed the Royals, they were playing in Clearwater, and I went up to see him. And Nightingale and I were sitting next to the dugout. There were 150 people there in the ballpark, sitting in the dugout, and Slick was sitting there on our corner, kind of BSing with us. And I said, how much are they paying him? And Nightingale was covering the Royals, and he said, I don't know. I said, hey, Slick, how much they paying you? 300, but man, he said, pretty good. He said, I was prying information out of how much they paying you? $250 or whatever the hell it was. Damn happy to have it too.
I thought Bob was a Cardinals beat
No, he
writer.
was in the Royals.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he was originally covered the Royals. Yes.
Because his kid now, doesn't his kid work for somebody?
I think he's one of the 120 candidates for the Star Tribune opener for ball writer.
What?
We got a ball writer opener.
Oh, I didn't know we had a vacancy.
Megan went to the business department in some
see
form,
that.
and they, like newspapers do now.
What about Lavelle?
Lavelle's a columnist.
Val's a columnist.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, once
We got
a week?
4. We get a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
But then other additional work too. Anyway.
All right. That's enough.
Oh, okay.
What else we got? There's new women's basketball coach.
I can't say her name.
Blitzerwhite.
Blitzerwhite.
I've decided if you say it real fast without syllables, you can pronounce it correctly.
Blitzerwhite.
Yeah. She's pretty good track record, so what the hell? She only stayed 1 year at West Virginia, though. Yeah. She was there 1 year.
And what is Lindsay's role going to be at the U of M?
Playing out her contract. She's going to help with the NIL, supposedly.
Okay.
So, will
she look to catch on somewhere else?
I heard a rumor she's going to go to work for the Lynx. So, but probably the rest of her contract here would pay her more money than they're paying this gal $800,000 a year. So,
wow.
Now they probably threw in an extra $100,000 to cover her buyout, which was $600 and some thousand at West Virginia.
Okay.
And I think it's easier if you say when he's asked who's paying the buyout, if he says the coach is. So politically, it's probably better to have her pay the buyout. I'm not sure. She had a press conference at 12:30 today. So anyway, she was the local AAU coaches were talking up her and the new and the Marquette coach, Megan, Irish kid, and Megan somebody. Those were the two right away. So she was on the front burner right away when Lindsay.
So
got
he
fired.
had her in mind when he decided to part ways mutually
I
with
think
Lindsay.
he probably talked to the AAU coaches and they said, he doesn't know anything about basketball, but if you talk to the AAU guys are where they all go now. So, all right, what the heck? By this time, here you go. By this time next week, when we meet again Monday, who's going to be in the Final Four?
Ooh, I really like Tennessee.
Do you?
Oh, they are physical.
That's some ugly basketball, yes.
But they got the one kid that can shoot. He's pretty good. Is it point guard?
Where is the Final Four this year?
Is it Houston? I'll look it up.
Is it Houston?
I'll look it up just to be sure. 2023 Final Four is in.
They get to 64 to 4 pretty fast.
NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas.
Okay, well, Houston could be the home team. Wow.
Oh, we got to spend 1 second on college hockey. Why are we got 3 Minnesota teams in one region?
So a lot of people go to the games.
Is that why?
Now it's not a problem for the Gophers. They get to play the worst team in the league in the tournament
Until the second round.
Yes, but you're gonna whatever regional final you're gonna play somebody good. And in fact, I'd like this from the Gophers standpoint because St. Cloud and Mankato are going to beat the crap out of each other Thursday.
Yeah. Yes.
It'll be a great game. It'll be a 3-2 game.
Yeah, we got to do the show early so I can watch the game.
Can't we put it on here?
No, I got to watch it at home.
Whoa.
3-2, and it'll be a grinder. And then they get to play Canisius, and if they lose, it'll be worse than the whole.
Did you see how the Mankato game ended on Saturday?
We got 2 goals in the last minute.
They were down, Joe. They were down 2-0 with less than 2 minutes, at least less than 3 minutes to go. They scored 2 to tie it, and the overtime winner, the kid flipped it falling down, Bobby Orr style, flipped it falling down,
and it goes in,
and it went in
over his back or what?
He was falling this way. And he was going towards the net. It was an incredible goal.
Bobby Orr is 75 years old today.
Wow. Enjoy Hastings this tournament.
That's what I'm
because
worried
I think
about.
he's going to Wisconsin.
That's what I'm worried about.
I think he's going to get the Wisconsin job.
And that would be that would be a
Now,
huge
they
loss.
do have
obviously.
this guy at Miami of Ohio who's an alum, but they tried the alum with Granato, and that didn't
it didn't work,
So,
no.
I think Hastings will probably be at Wisconsin. So,
Well, I don't want to hear that.
but I'll miss him. Just if you drive through Mankato, you can go see him, and he's a great guy. He's a character. So, all right, let's go.
Good
Let's
enough.
go, Mets.
Yeah, let's go, Mets.
Everyone is going mad in March trying to narrow the field down to 16. Reusse here for the Canopy Group, and they have the Savory 16. The Canopy Group has 16 different insurance companies giving them options to provide you the best home and auto insurance coverage at the best price. The difference is at the Canopy Group, their tournament never ends. They continue to use their 16 different companies to match you with the company providing the best coverage at the best price, and they do this year in and year out. Get in the game. Contact the Canopy Group and get them working on your brackets. Bracketology isn't foolproof. The sure bet is on the Canopy Group, saving you an average of $810 on your home and auto insurance annually. Call 800-967-3389 or visit thecanopygroup.com. You have heard me discuss my relationship with Josh Arnold for some time. The reason I advocate that you give Josh a call is simple. Trust and results. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions. As has been said through all of our relationship, past results do not guarantee future returns. And while that is true, Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. You can understand that Josh will make sure you are not paying more in fees than you are seeing in returns. Yes, that is more common than you would like to think. Do yourself a favor and have a booking with Josh for the 48-minute free evaluation. This is a no-obligation meeting. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. You will be glad that you did.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Reusse is a paid endorser.